Hello dear friends and welcome to my YouTube channel. So in this video I decided to show you games of unbeaten streak of Mikhail Tal. Um, let's go here. We see that 95 consecutive games from July 1972 to April 1973. Tal played a record 86 consecutive games without a loss, 47 wins and 39 draws. Between 23rd October 1973 and 16th October 1974, he played 95 consecutive games without a loss, 46 wins and 49 draws, shattering his previous record. Yes, I also want to show you that uh, Sergei Tivyakov and Bogdan Lalic both claim to have played a previous record 110 consecutive tournament games at classical time controls without losing, although neither player faced exclusively elite-level opponents during their unbeaten streaks and face predominantly a mix of weaker professional and club-level players. Bogdan Lalic, born 8th of March 1964, is a Croatian chess grandmaster. He has the record of an unbeaten streak of 155 games. Dingis uh, uh, once achieved the record-breaking 100-game unbeaten streak. However, after defeating Jan Nepomniachtchi to claim the champion's title in 2023, he struggled both on and off the board. And of course, Magnus Carlsen, 125 games, the longest confirmed unbeaten streak at an elite level belongs to Magnus Carlsen, who achieved an unbeaten streak of 125 games in the classical time format. So here I collected from ChessBase um, that databases all the games of Mikhail Tal played in 1973 till 1974. So let's go. So first game, Tal is playing against Valery Zilberstein. Knight f3, d6, d4 takes knight f6, knight c3, a6, bishop g5, e6, f4, queen b6, queen d2. So game has been played in 1973. Queen d2, this, and here of course nowadays rook b1, queen a3, and white is choosing between e5, f5 moves, knight b3, queen a3, bishop takes, bishop e2, bishop e7 is another move, h5, short castle, knight c6, knight b1. So what's the point if I go queen b2, then a4? a3 wins the game. And what if this? Yes. So this c4, Bishop e7, knight c3, queen a3, queen before queen e3. Knight a5 was possible. Bishop g7, a3, queen a4. Nice. Knight c3, queen b3, rook f b1, f5, rook b3, bishop d4, queen g3, king f8. Yes, rook g8 would have been better. This is the point. For example, knight c3, you just take it, and you have this f5 move. And now rook b3, there is bishop d4. Yes, queen f2 takes knight d4. If something like this, then you take and knight a5 is coming. So king f8, mistake, knight c3, queen b3, rook b1, queen c2, rook a2, h4, queen e1, takes, b takes f, bishop f3, king h1, knight c3. Yes, bringing the knight into the game, attacking b7 and d6. 7, knight d6. Yes, stopping bishop f3, maybe threatening bishop c6, g4. Yes. Attacking the knight. Yes, very nice game. Another game is against Lubomir Lubovich. Yes, nowadays c4, knight b6, f4 is the main uh, line for white. Knight f3, knight g6, bishop c4. Yes, knight b6 is also possible move. Bishop b3, bishop g7, c6, short castle, bishop b7, e takes d, queen takes d6, rook e1, short castle, bishop g5. White is maybe threatening bishop d5, bishop g4. Why bishop d5 is not working? I guess queen takes d5. Knight bd2, rook e8, bishop b3, bishop h4, c4. Yes, knight d7, very logical move, completing the development. e6 would have been maybe slightly more precise. And knight f6 back, c5. What is happening? What is hanging? Queen d4, rook e4. Queen d4 was played, but for example, if I go queen c7, just bishop or rook takes e7, rook e4, and g takes f, king g2, and king takes h3. And black doesn't have enough compensation. Oh, not even queen e2, bishop e5, rook d1, rook d1, and white is much better. Bishop e5, rook e5, g4 was played, attacking here, knight f3, takes. Maybe black is slowly getting some hopes, some small hopes. Yes, queen e5 would have been better. Wow, a takes b. Yes, now king g7, maybe he really wanted to take. Queen d4, knight f6 takes b takes a takes b, queen b2, something like this, king g4, queen d4. No, this not loses to bishop 6. Threatening rook g8, I guess. G5. Yes, very interesting game. Another game against Glenn Zoidema, 24-30 rated player. Um, Yes, and Tal starts the game with c4, knight f6, knight c3. Let me 6, knight f3. Yes, nowadays d4 or e4 would have been more principal. And d4, bishop e7, this. Yes, and here bishop c5 is the main move. Queen a5, a3. So bishop c5, I guess b4 is finishing the game. Queen c5, b4. Take takes, queen takes, queen e2, very logical move. Bishop d3 may be a better move. a6, b4, queen h5, short castle, e5, bishop d3, bishop b7, e4, knight b7, h3, rook c8, rook c1. Yes, I don't think any chess player can find g5 move in this position, and even if they see, it's very hard to believe that g5 is the strongest. Queen e3, why not knight c4? Knight c4 does look maybe some bishop c4 is just rook c4, knight d2. So this knight d2, knight is coming to g3, and queen is in some trouble. And we see Karpov's famous bishop a7 move. And yes, queen a7, white is winning. Knight e5, knight e5, queen takes e, bishop b1, bishop d6, f4, rook d1, king h2, rook d2. Yes, almost nothing. Knight d4 was inaccuracy, mistake. Queen d3 would have been much better. And now black is more or less fine. Yes, king f7 is better move. And king f7 with the ideas knight b6. Yes, knight d5, there is rook d5. And yes, king f7, rook d4, maybe knight b6 was the point. Yes, f5. Yes, another win. Next game against Saidi Anthony Fred, 24-25. c4, c5. b3. Yes, d4. C takes the knight d4. With this, short castle, d6 with the ideas to go e5, d4. C takes the knight d4, bishop d7. Commentators are suggesting bishop g4, d5, knight a5, knight c3, a6, knight d2, rook b8, preparing b5, queen c2. Yes, b5 does look very logical. This, rook e1, and b5, knight d1. Why, for example, here after b5, rook e1 doesn't work? It does work. So this knight d1, very classy move. e4, no, not d takes c, f4. Bishop c3, knight e3, knight f3, h4, h5, 5, knight g6. Yeah, it's a very classy game. King f8, queen h5. Another very nice game by Tal. And in this game, Tal does have black pieces. So let me flip the board. So he's playing against Ney Livo or Evo. D4, knight f6, c4, g6, nice indeed, bishop g7, e4, short castle, knight f3, d6, bishop e2, e5, d takes, queen d8, rook d8, bishop g5, now rook e8, long castle, 6, c6, bishop e6, bishop f8, b7. Yes, white is slightly better, some king b2, even the way Ney has played. Yes, g3, 4. Yes, engine doesn't like g3 f4 idea because you are not really threatening f5, it takes c. This, knight king h7, f5, some tactical ideas, takes, c4, bishop e6, knight e4, with king g7, g5. Yes, black is much better. Yes, even takes, rook e2, white is not that worse. Yes, just rook f6. Yes. But just, of course, white had very safe, very solid position, maybe even tiny better, but slowly started making some inaccuracies. And then Tal didn't play the uh, all strongest and the best moves, but anyway, it was enough to trick the opponent. Another game, Tal is playing Hilar Karner, 24-10. And bishop c4 setup and variation, which is even in 2024 very popular. Knight f6, queen e2 is the move. Yes, Tal definitely didn't like d5 if like a chief gets d5. That's why bishop b3. And queen e2 nowadays many of us would play probably. Yes, this. Queen c7 preparing e5, and Tal doesn't let black to get e5, and e5 d takes c, Knight d5 would have been, and corner goes knight d5, rook e1, knight a6, a3, knight c5, bishop a2. Very logical moves. Bishop f5 would have been interesting, but knight d4, bishop e5, knight f5, g takes f. I assume Corner was afraid of getting something like that against Tal. So rook d8, queen e2, b5, knight e4. Yes, very logical moves. Bishop f5, queen h4, very principled chess. From corner, bishop c2, c5 he went. Maybe he wanted to get c4 and close this bishop, but bishop h6. c4 b takes c, bishop c4 would have been better. Takes the pawn, bishop d3. Rook d1, c4 doesn't work because of rook d3. Takes, black is just fine. But how did Tal manage to win this game? Takes, rook d8, take rook e1, c4, rook e6, h4, h5, knight g5, c4, rook e4, queen c2, c3. Yes, Tal was losing. And here opponent has rook d3. So this takes, king g3. Oh, and opponent completely collapsed. And went a5, rook takes f7, I guess. Yes, after a5 he just resigned. Yes, of course, Karnev played very good game and he even outplayed Tal, got winning position and then collapsed, maybe in time trouble. Here's another game by Mihail Tal. He's playing Vesterinen with the black pieces and b3. Yes, nowadays very popular line, knight f6, e5, knight e5, bishop b2, bishop e7, c4, knight 7. Tal doesn't react in a best way. IC3, maybe d4 would have been better, f6 and d4. So knight e4, f takes c, knight e5, short castle, and here d4. Takes, if d6, knight f3 takes, queen takes d4, bishop b4, king d1. Yes, very strange decision by Vesterinen, and now d6, and now e5, now bishop f5. Of course, with such a king on d1, white will face a lot of problems. This, and Tal doesn't want to trade the queens, but taking queen g5 and knight c6 would have been very good. Queen c6, bishop f5, bishop g6, threatening some knight b4, knight b5, knight takes a3, knight b4. Yes, queen. Oops. Bishop b6 is finishing the game with bishop d4 ideas. And here, for some reason, yes, king b2. Why not king b2? No, I guess maybe it was queen b6. Yes, strange. Yes, but Westernen didn't play well, and another game against Jan Timon. Tal is having black pieces. Bishop g7, e4, d6, knight f3, short castle, bishop e2, e5, short castle, knight e8, king h1, and f5 ideas doesn't work because of g takes rook g1. Okay, knight d1, knight d7, knight d3, f5, f4, queen e7, takes f, g takes f, king h1, e4, knight f2, and very typical bishop takes c3, b takes c, knight f6, and king h8. I think Petrosian also has this bishop takes c3 idea. Later on, of course, we are in 2024, we are aware of Wojtaszek Caruana game. h3, engine doesn't like, rook g8, queen d2, knight g7, queen g7 would have been better, and knight is going there. Yes, this, bishop b7, rook f8, queen f6. A very unpleasant position for white because of the bishop on e1. Completely restricted, and now a small tactical idea. And now queen f3, f4 is coming, and queen takes h3. f4 is anyway coming, and here Timon resigned. Yes, very classic game by Tal, despite after the opening he had, according to engines, some problems, but we shouldn't forget that back then players didn't have computers, and all the information we are having right now they didn't have, or many of huge part of uh, the information we are having. And anyway, he outplayed Timon in a very nice way. Another game is against Keres. B5, knight f3, bishop b5, d6, bishop d7, knight e7. Wow! Kirill Alexeyenko plays this line very often. Rook e1, bishop e7, knight bd2, h6, knight f1, bishop g5, bishop e3, bishop takes e3, knight takes e3, short castle, bishop c2, rook e8, queen d2, rook c8, g3, knight d5, queen f3, bishop d1, knight h4, g takes h4, queen h3, knight f6, g takes king h8 was played, and white is so g takes f would have been this, it takes d, king h1, and now knight e5 is coming, rook g1, not really knight g4, because of takes, and bishop g4 is coming. And if you take, knight f3 is there, king f8. What about queen f4? Yes, you are in some trouble after bishop g4, queen h4. And bishop f5 here doesn't work. Yes, Keres didn't see this 95 or g takes f, queen h6. He doesn't like something, or he didn't see something. And eventually when king h8 takes h5, bishop g4, queen e3, king h1, bishop d1, rook d1, queen h4, queen f3, king g8, rook e3. Still some compensation is there, maybe not enough, but f4. Yes, very unpleasant position, of course. 5. Yes, queen h6 was there. Stopping goes c5. Yes, for some reason, Dal didn't take on h6. Again, rook h6 finishes the game. And eventually he took and takes h4. Yes, very interesting game, of course. At this point, yes, this was the critical position. King g2 was there, knight d5, take bishop d1, and knight h4 this. And I'm sure that when Tal went knight d5, he saw this knight f6 idea. But of course, after king h8, black is having some compensation, but white is the better side, no doubts. And here, for some reason, let's see, can we make, let's say, at least 3? And let's go queen h6, and we see that it takes this the only move, king h1, and knight e5 is the only move. Rook g1 is coming, and here we see that rook g4 takes, rook g4 takes, rook g1, rook e4, c takes d, knight f3, and so, yes. Not very hard calculation, very, I would say even straightforward. and such a strong player like Keres, um, I don't think that would have been difficult for him, but he didn't play G-Tech set. And we are having 10th game, and Tal is facing Boris Spassky. Bishop b4, bishop g5. Very, very rare move in 2024. I don't remember any single game. Yes, c5 is there, h6, bishop h4, and Tal reacts in a most principal way. e3 is there, d5 was played. Yes, here d6 move is possible, bishop c3, d6 is there, g5, knight e4 is there, b5, e3, d takes c was played. Yes, e3 or knight f3 would have been better. Takes, and d5, a short castle, queen a5, rook takes f6, a6, knight c6, d4, rook f3. Yes, engine says you can even take knight d4 or c takes d, takes, and after queen d2, rook f2. For example, you start with this, takes, you take, and bishop c5 or rook f2, bishop f3. With rook f3, bishop takes f3, c takes d, short castle. Yes, if you go some rook c1, bishop a6 finishes the game, bishop c6, rook d8. What about, oops, what have I done? This, and bishop c6, we just take the takes c, game is over. So this, the takes c, b takes c, bishop c3, and here queen d6, and rook a6, bishop takes c6, bishop b4, queen b8, rook c6, rook c1, and bishop c3, bishop c5 was played, and here Spassky didn't manage to see this rook fd1 move. Yes, rook fd1, and I should play something like king f7 or queen a6, because if I go there, then you have some king h1 move, or queen b1 check. So this, queen a4, and rook fc1 doesn't work because of, I guess, some bishop f2 tactical ideas. So queen b3, queen f4, and queen f5, bishop b7. Queen b8, what do you play? You just go king h7 and then bishop f2. Yes, no words, no questions. Tal, in 1973, he played like I would dream to play in 2024. Yes. First of all, some prep from Boris Spassky, bishop g5. He reacts in a best way, and then b5. I'm sure that let's not forget that Spassky was much higher rated than Tal, and yes, some dubious move, and Spassky reacts the most logical way, just grabbing the pawn. And now, yes, and here bishop d3, he doesn't play, knight f3 and queen a5. From this position, Tal plays almost perfectly. a6, with the ideas a takes b, knight c6. He ignores pawn on a6. Yes, a3 was better move, but this d4. takes rook f3, takes c takes d, takes, takes rook a6, bishop b4, takes bishop c5. He played bishop c3 would have been better, and he finds queen a4, queen f4, queen f5, bishop b7, queen g5. Always bishop f2 ideas are there, rook c7. Again, you don't have rook c5, there is queen c1 at least. And this is obvious. That, of course, no need to see bishop f2 um, to be sure that position is winning for black. Yes, this, check, this, check, 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 queen e4, bishop b7, queen b7, rook b7, and this check and check, check. Yes, very nice game. Uh, Thank you very much for watching this video. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, leave your comments, and what do you think about Tal's Tal games and his style? Do you like this format or? Honestly speaking, I myself I'm just enjoying to record uh, this video. I will continue record more videos. In each video, I will be analyzing 10 games. Uh, of course, I should mention that against Garner he was lucky because Tal was completely lost, but at least 10 wins. And against Geras, against Spassky, against Timon, and Ljubojevic. Okay, others are not uh, big stars, but anyway, very high rated, strong players. Thank you very much. This was Tal's unbeaten streak part 1. Thank you very much.